Phase 1. Incubation. In 1848, German states were full of tension and hope for change. Demonstrations for liberal reform spread around many German states that had encountered previous revolutions. Citizens called for a representative government that would support the unification of Germany. Short-term causes included the Hamburg Festival, where public unrest grew over high taxation and the suppression of speech. High taxation not only added stress and incapability on citizens economically, but also showed the lack of decision-making from the German government. A key event was the groundwork laid for the 1848 revolution, which was inspired early by the Hamburg Festival of 1832. In this festival, people demanded the freedom of speech and freedom from the press, written constitutions, while opposing political expression. Fear from the princes and rulers pushed them to concede to political changes due to widespread demands across German states. On February 28, 1848, in Mannheim, a group of people in Baden agreed to a resolution calling for a Bill of Rights. This bill demanded equality of everyone, all class privileges, and personal and political liberties.
Symptomatic period. There are multiple key events happening in the German Revolution in 1848 which affected economic systems and citizens throughout the years 1848 to 1849. Political reforms were demanded by workers and students in Berlin that included a constitutional monarchy, civil liberties, and universal male suffrage. Enormous protests started to arise in Germany, such as Berlin. In May of 1848, an assembly called the Frankfurt Parliament was introduced to liberals of different German states to discuss reforms and attempts to draft a constitution to a unified monarchy. But went wrong as they struggled with different constitutions, liberals, and divisions. They also struggled with finding a solution between the monarchs and reforms. Key individuals like Ludwig von Gagens was one of the 831 leaders who would advocate for a unified Germany. Short-term causes like economic hardship also affected peoples. As crops died out, food shortages made the price for food skyrocket. The cost of food like bread wasn't your average price bread, and people were not able to afford this type of price. Economic depression arose as unemployment started to normalize. Workers and citizens faced poverty and poor working conditions. These problems made poor suffer economically as they were already suffering. Thank you.
In third phase, between September 1848 and December 1849, Europe faced a crisis phase marked by radical uprising and conservative suppression. In September 1848, workers, students, and radicals in Vienna revolted against attempts to suppress Hungary's independence movement led by Prince Alfred of Windisch-Gratz. Imperial forces crushed the uprising, securing a major conservative victory. In October 1848, radicals in Vienna and Frankfurt revolted against the Frankfurt Parliament's moderate stance in truce with Denmark. But this uprising was swiftly suppressed by federal and Prussian troops, deepening tension between liberals and radicals. Prince Alfred of Windisch-Gratz played a key role in restoring conservative control, while Robert Blum, a German radical Democrat, fought for unified egalitarian Germany. These events marked a turning point as hopes for reform gave way to counter-revolution. Division between moderates seeking constitutional monarchies and radicals pushing for republics and social reforms weakened the revolutionary movement, allowing conservatives to regain power.
I believe from the spring of 1849 to early 1850s fit the convalescent phase of the revolution. Definition of convalescent phase according to the Britain stage of revolution: it is a recovery followed by intense revolutionary upheaval. The characteristic of this phase is a decline in revolutionary fervor, resurgence of conservative power, consequences of revolution, and return to normality of society. The spring of 1849 was a critical turning point of the revolution, when the initial fervor of the revolution has waned due to the inter-conflict within the parliament and from the Austrian support towards conservatives. Within the Frankfurt Parliament, the Grossdeutsch faction advocated for Austrian leadership, citing the Holy Roman Empire's legacy. Conversely, the Klein-Dutch faction championed Parisian leadership, emphasizing its political strength and strategical location. Meanwhile, there were people fighting over the leadership of Germany. The rich and poor clashed over political leadership, with the poor seeking protection of industrialization effect, while the rich championed economic growth and freedom. The parliament started to lose their support from the public as they realized that parliament wasn't solving their problems just like the conservatives did. Additional to the incompetence of the party, Austrian government proclaimed their opposition to the establishment of federal government in Germany, allowing conservatives to regain their power. During this time period, the National Assembly sought a federal union under the Emperor. Frederick William IV rejected the crown, fearing the loss of authority under the new constitution. However, Frederick William IV instead was willing to become a head of national federation, which his authority cannot be infringed. Followed by full recovery from conservatives came the consequences of revolution. The suppression of radical uprising by Parisian troops in 1849 and 1850s further cemented the return of conservative power. These crackdowns instilled fear in the revolutionary movement and effectively crushed any hopes for a renewed revolutionary surge. Alas, the suppression of revolutionary movement led to a reassertion of traditional social and political order. Conservative value and institution regained influence, returning to the original political states.
What changes did the revolution make? The existing regime, which the monarch and aristocracy ruled, did not change, but instead, the revolutionary ideas and democratic movement was suppressed heavily by conservatives.
Working class people would protest and push for better conditions. These conditions would be better wages, labor rights, and improvement of living. On the other hand, not a lot of economic changes were there.
Was this revolution a success? Various historians view the revolution as a failed bid for democratic reform and unification, weakened by internal division and decisive regrouping of conservative forces. In our opinion, successful revolution satisfies both monarch and revolutionary by achieving societal change. The German Revolution of 1848 failed as the Frankfurt Parliament couldn't unify the government, limit monarch's power, and maintain popular support, allowing conservatives to regain control.
What is the legacy of this revolution? On a local scale, this revolution failed to bring democracy, restoring old power structures. The king rejected the imperial crown from the parliament and insisted it should come from God, not an ordinary citizen. On a regional scale, in cities like Berlin, workers became more aware of their rights and prepared to fight for them.
global scale, while the revolution failed in Germany, it inspired uprising in other European countries and weakened conservative forces. It fueled liberal ideas and ignited German nationalism.